Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining today's webinar. Let me take this time to introduce our host for today, Mike Precia, Fleetworthy's Chief Strategy Officer and President. Mike brings over 25 years of experience in global SaaS organizations, with the last 7 years dedicated to helping shape Fleetworthy's strategic direction. If you have any questions during the webinar, please add them to the Q&A box. And with that, let's get started. Mike, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. As always, I want to start by thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with the team here at Fleetworthy. We know that that's a decision. If you're here, you're sacrificing working in your business, so we very much appreciate your time. Today's webinar is a part of a series of webinars that we've been putting on for our customers and interested prospects about all the things that are happening over here at Fleetworthy when we try to focus on helping you with all things compliance. Today, we're going to zero in on something that's a big issue for fleets that are operating in the New York City 5 boroughs, and that's, how do you manage the escalation of parking and camera violation costs in New York City? Today, I have with me Christian Fama. He is one of the founders of Empire, and go to the next slide. Christian is an expert when it comes to New York City parking violations and red light infractions. We became a partner of Empire's a few years ago, and then ultimately it led to us acquiring them as we felt that they had the best of breed solution when it came to tackling this problem. I'm going to let Christian, give you a little of his background as we talk about this issue that is parking tickets in the 5 boroughs of New York.
Yes, hello, Christian from Empire Commercial Services by Fleetworthy. Just a little quick background on the company. Empire's been in business almost 35 years, the premier parking ticket processor in New York City, processing more violations than anybody other than the city of New York itself. So we have 30 years of expertise in dealing with parking and camera violations within the 5 boroughs of New York City. And as anybody on this call knows, it's become an increasingly big issue and difficult to deal with in terms of dealing with Department of Finance itself, your drivers, your admins, and trying to manage this ever-growing issue. So we have a solution to do that. We can tailor it specific to your individual company's needs. And provide a complete management solution where we really take ownership of the problem and offer you a solution. Of course, everyone wants to get a savings, which we will produce for you, but it's also the support structure underneath and behind that savings that really differentiates us and sets us apart from anybody in the business that's doing this. Next slide. So as many people on the call might know, you're on the call because you're interested and you have some kind of New York City parking ticket issue. These are just some of the quick mind-blowing numbers regarding New York City parking violations and issuance. Last year, fiscal year 2025, over 16.5 million violations issued for over $1.1 billion. And just so everyone's clear what that encompasses, would be any parking or camera violation issued within the 5 boroughs of New York City. That's what is falling under this umbrella. National fleets, national companies do not experience the cost and expense that they do in New York anywhere else in the country. It's not even close. Over the years, we've seen different iterations of how the city tries to go about increasing revenue, and in recent years, their newest thing is to add cameras and camera violations in the city. So red light cameras, speed zone cameras, bus lane cameras, MTA, double park cameras, and it's really a challenge for the companies and the drivers. So we're able to provide a solution to help mitigate the cost, and we'll explain a little more why it's important to have your company enrolled in the commercial program and having Empire administer it to give you all the benefit. Next slide. The city of New York offers a program for commercial operators known as the stipulated fine program. We administer that for many of our clients. It's really important as a commercial operator that you are enrolled in a program. And, again, people always want to know, well, what can I save, et cetera. And there is a savings to be had, and we'll get to that. But there's also a big cost to not being enrolled in a program as a commercial operator. Accelerated late fees, penalties that accrue on every single ticket, up to $60 late fee per ticket if not addressed correctly. In some instances, you'll see a company paying $60 late fees on $35 tickets, right? So it's crazy. Um, Additionally, if the tickets aren't dealt with correctly, the tickets will roll into a judgment status, and that's what triggers booting and towing of the vehicles, which, again, in New York, it's almost like any other city where they have an extremely aggressive booting and towing policy, especially for commercial operators. They target the commercial operators knowing it's easier to get the money from the commercial operator than it is from the individual. And in recent years, they actually lowered that threshold to just $350 in judgment status, which essentially is $215 parking tickets with $60 late fees attached to it. And what people don't often realize is that $350 in judgment or two tickets on one plate can jeopardize the entire rest of that company's fleet of common registrant, right? So they can take any vehicle to satisfy that debt. Additionally, and another thing companies don't realize is the judgment debt can prevent the company or organization if they have other business with the city of New York. So if they have a contract, whether it's, delivering food to the public school or something of that nature, if they have outstanding judgment, they can be precluded from getting those contracts with the city, which, can obviously cost a company tremendous amount of money in potential lost revenue. And that's something that I've seen happen a number of times where it's too late to resolve once the contract has already been decided you're not getting it because of the outstanding judgments.
So Christian, as we built our relationship first as partners, um, and then you became part of the Fleetworthy family, one of the things we talked about was that the incidents and the things that you're talking about that negatively impact the driver experience. So one of the things we're trying to do is if we can create a full service managed service for our customers and improve that driver experience so that your organizations are coaching your drivers on what they should be doing in the city of New York when they're trying to do their jobs. We're getting a very good response to our ability to improve that day-to-day experience for the driver. You can imagine getting booted and towed, etc., is not something that anyone wants to go through.
Right. It's very stressful for the driver out in the road, especially when it's not really always the driver's fault, right? If the company is not managing the tickets properly and paying the tickets properly, that's not the driver's fault if the vehicle is getting booted and towed. Additionally, for the company and what we found our clients and partners really like is we have a very detailed reporting that we can share with the clients, detailed right down to, vehicle IDs, driver name, route numbers, really whatever information is important to the client, we can spit it back so that way they can use that for management tools with the drivers, for budgeting purposes. We can also segregated out by their different cost centers or locations if a company has multiple different locations that they're running vehicles out of, so they can really see where their costs lie, who's getting the tickets, what are they getting for. And then after we have a set of data, we can make recommendations to the company to say, hey, we think that if we make these slight adjustments, it can have a big impact on your bottom line, whether that be addressing a specific driver or location, adjusting where and the types of violations the drivers are receiving. And, companies also use this obviously as a disciplinary tool if they have a repeat problem driver who's getting the same speed zone camera ticket in a school zone over and over again. We can identify and let them know that.
One real world example, we have a very large customer that signed up for the services recently, and to Christian's point about this being a revenue generation tool for the city, they were starting to put cameras on buses and telling everyone, hey, we will be sending you warnings And once you receive a warning, you're going to start receiving tickets for being in the bus lane. So because they have a centralized offering from Fleetworthy, our ability to identify this issue, get the information out to the locations so that they can start mitigating and changing their behavior, ends up saving carriers a lot of money in the long run. So another example of how we partner with our customers to mitigate risks and avoid costs.
And also, I'll just add to that, Mike, we are also a resource for the customer and the client. There's a lot of times questions or things that will come up that are even one-off type of things that they're unsure about, where, for the most part, there's not too much we have not seen in the world of violations over the last 35 years. And we can generally get the issue resolved or at least point them in the right direction if it's something outside of the scope. But for the very most part, it's, we never try to say no to a customer and we try to resolve as quickly and efficiently as possible. Next slide. So, what can we do and what do we offer? In recent years, we've been leaning towards the stipulated fine program with companies for a number of reasons. It's a great program offered by the city of New York, and it's really not offered in any other large city in the company. And to just quickly go over some of the benefits of the program, we get a weekly reporting of all the tickets issued to your vehicles. Um, it's administratively very easy for us and the companies to manage, where you will get a percentage reduction depending on the types of violations your vehicles are receiving. The reduction rate can vary from company to company, and that is dependent upon the types of violations that your drivers are receiving. However, generally, for most of our clients, they shake out between a 20 to 25% overall reduction in the initial ticket liability. Being enrolled in this program is also great because it protects the vehicles from being booted or towed due to outstanding open ticket debt, which is a huge benefit. And it also extends the penalty-free period on the tickets to 45 days, where if you're non-program, you only would have 30 days. Um, when we get the reports, we can run everything through our system. Again, creating all different tags that are important to the individual clients, whether that be vehicle ID, location, driver name, whatever internally is important to the client, we can spit it back to them. We also help to do all the payment transmission to the New York City Department of Finance, ensuring that all the payments are applied correctly to the correct tickets. And on and on we go. Obviously, at the end of the day, we have all the aggregate data and reporting that we can also feed back to the client in terms of how many tickets you got, what you paid, what you saved, right down to specific vehicle ABC 123 received X amount of tickets for the year for X amount of dollars, and really, provide more information than anybody would ever need regarding violations, but we got it when you need it. Uh, and part of the beauty of this program, and I'm sure maybe some of the people on the call are familiar with processes in New York City to some degree or another in fighting tickets. Part of the real benefit of the stipulated fine program is twofold. There's no documentation required. So maybe some of you in the past have done things with driver affidavits and delivery manifests and notarization and so forth. None of that is required in this program, which makes it administratively very easy, and you don't have to dedicate resources in office, in-house to really doing anything. And number two, it does provide a level of predictability in the cost and the savings. You're generally going to sit around that 20 to 25% reduction mark. They're not too big of swings in the savings or the percentage. So it helps to budget and forecast a little bit easier. I think we can do next slide. At that point, we can open it up to any questions, Mike, if there's anything that you want to facilitate as well. But anybody on the call, we're happy to answer any baseline questions that anybody here may have.
And we actually did have one question come in so far. Do you handle New York City idling tickets?
Yes, we do. So, in addition to New York City parking and camera violations, we're kind of like a full service New York violation facility, right? So the quick answer is yes, we can handle the DEP idling violations, and we handle hundreds a month. We also can handle anything for traffic court, criminal traffic court, whether that be in the five boroughs, Nassau County, Suffolk County, Westchester, you name it, and we pretty much have coverage. Parking tickets in those jurisdictions do not fall under this umbrella. They would not come on this report from the New York City Department of Finance. The traffic violations, criminal traffic court violations, those are instances where the driver is pulled over. In terms of the DEP idling violations, similarly, it is a separate court. That is the Oath Court, Office of Administrative Tribunals and Hearings. These violations do not come on your fleet report or your stipulated report from Department of Finance. It's a separate channel, but yes, we can handle it. We do have good success with it to a degree. What I would say with that is, there's video evidence against your company. So that makes, the videos are the videos, but where we really provide value and benefit to the clients with the oath idling violations is because they're sent out via paper notice to the companies. Many times the court dates are missed, or the company doesn't receive it at the correct location. And when these violations miss a hearing, they can default for anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 per violation. And in those instances, we are able to many times, as long as we're within a certain window of 60 days after mishearing, we can reinstate the violations for you, have the hearing, and if we can't get the violation dismissed, we can get you a significant reduction from that defaulted fine amount of $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 back to the base fine level if we cannot dismiss.
Great, thank you. And we have a few more questions rolling in now. The next one, I am already in the stipulated fine program. What benefits do you bring if I join your company?
So there are companies that can manage the stipulated fine program on their own. What I've seen over 30 years of experience, right, is a couple things. The management of the program is relatively easy if you are a small company and you have a stable fleet of a couple of vehicles. The larger the company gets, the more cumbersome that process can become in terms of enrolling plates in and out of the program, making sure the plates are enrolled properly and correctly. Obviously, the reporting aspect on the back end, right? That brings a tremendous amount of value to the company. If you're doing it internally, I would imagine you're managing and reporting and tracking that some way in-house, which is a dedicated resource in your office to try to have somebody do that, where we could take care of all of that for you. The main downfalls I see for companies trying to manage this on their own is, there would be an employee who maybe was familiar with the process, familiar with the program, able to do it pretty well. That employee leaves for whatever the given reason is. And then the next person to take it over, there's a break in that knowledge or familiarization, and then the program can go off the rail very quickly. And I've seen this time and time again. To me, I say tale as old as time, because whenever people try to manage it on their own, inevitably they end up coming here because it does become unmanageable, especially as new plates come online, leased vehicles come online. There are definite levels of complication, and we take care of all of that type of stuff.
Great, thank you. The next one, how are disputes handled if we find a camera ticket has been issued and Fleetworthy has paid?
So generally speaking, if you're in the stipulated fine program, you've pled guilty to your violation, right? You've pled guilty to the violation in exchange for a percentage reduction on the tickets. Camera violations do not receive a reduction, so they're generally paid at the base fine amount, whatever that may be, $50 or $100, depending on the violation. Um, Repeat the second part of the question regarding the payments.
Yes. Let's see. How are disputes handled if we find a camera ticket has been issued and paid, or I'm sorry, has been issued and Fleetworthy has paid?
So again, on an individual company basis, we could work with you guys on how you want to handle the payment aspect of the program. We have some companies that will pay the city directly through us where we, monitor the payments, transmit the payments to the city, record all the information. And then we have other companies where Fleetworthy actually will pay the violations, through a contract with the company and then get the reimbursement from the company on the back end. So it really just depends for the individual company how we have the account set up with you guys.
Okay, great. Next question. We have a lot of tickets for no standing and double parking. What is your success rate of fighting those, and what is your process to get the data to fight them?
So again, in the stipulated fine program, essentially you'd be pleading guilty to those tickets in exchange for percentage reduction. A no standing ticket would get reduced from $115 down to $90. We wouldn't need any documentation. You'd get the automatic reduction. A double parking ticket, depending on the type of double parking ticket, because there are different types. But like a code 46 double parking ticket, you receive a significant reduction on that ticket from $115 gets a $65 reduction down to $50. Again, no documentation or anything like that is required. Um, you know, we're going to jump after this to an alternate program. We do offer the fleet program, which is more involved for companies. There's more work for companies involved in terms of trying to go to court and fighting tickets, and we can facilitate that as well for companies that are interested in that. But it's significantly more work for the company to do that in order to get the benefit of outright dismissal for the tickets.
Okay, great. What are the fees for your service? That's the first part. And the second part, is the fee per violation or a monthly fee?
Good question. So generally, we charge a per violation fee, flat fee for each ticket processed. That would be figured out on an individual company basis. We generally charge it on an economy of scale. So the more tickets you get, the cheaper per ticket price we can offer to the client. Generally speaking, it would range somewhere in the range of $8 to $10 per ticket processed if we manage the stipulated program. Really that again works out well for the clients because they can easily budget and manage that. Once we get a little history with the company, I get a good sense and idea on their average monthly ticket volume. It makes it very easy for budgeting purposes and reporting purposes.
And Christian, I'll jump in. The other thing is, as our customers are using other services, there are discounts that are applied that you qualify for. So our goal is to give you a holistic solution and trying to get rid of all these, death by a million cuts in regards to costs because of non-compliance. So if you're interested, you're an existing customer and you're looking to add this type of service on top of some of the things we're doing for you now, we do incentivize our customers to add services like Empire services.
Okay, great. Thank you everyone for joining us today and hope you have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.